You're welcome to the special report segment of Impact Yobe. Our special report this week is on the plight of the internally displaced persons and what the Yobe state government is doing to cater for the needs of this group of vulnerable people. And our guest today is the Executive Deputy Governor of Yobe State, Engineer Abubakar D. Aliu. He's the chairman of the Post-Insurgency Resettlement and Rehabilitation Committee. Your Excellency, you're welcome to the program.
Thank you. Good to have you.
Yeah, thank you, sir. The state government is doing so much for the IDPs. Can you let us into some of the programs the state government has put in place for the internally displaced persons?
Let me begin by welcoming you to my office today. As you rightly put it, I've been given this job by His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Yobe State, to head the Yobe State Post-Insurgency Resettlement, Rehabilitation and Reconstruction Committee, which was set up in December 2014. And since then, we swung into action and moved to the field, because at that very time, the problem of insurgency was declining, but the issue of IDPs was at the rise. So, and that was because when the present administration of President Muhammadu Buhari came in 2015, the military were supported very well by the present government, which was not the case during the PDP regime. We were neglected. The military were also neglected. They were left at the mercy of the state governors. In Yobe State, my governor was playing the role of the commander-in-chief of the soldiers here in Yobe State, because he pays whatever they do in terms of their cash ration allowance, fueling, in fact, general funding, except their salaries, of course. So, as soon as the present regime came of President Muhammadu Buhari, we received a letter from the federal government that we should stop their taking up their responsibilities. Because all the responsibilities, like I said, were taken by us. But when he came, they took it back and they were funding the military very well. So with that new support, the military were able to move into the areas which were taken over earlier by the insurgents, like, for instance, Gujuba and Gulani. The two local governments were taken over by insurgents. It was a no-go area. But as soon as it was 2015, the military came in and pushed away the insurgents. And before they could go in, they announced to all the residents, villages around that area to move out immediately, because they were going to execute military operation. So it was sudden, the movement of the IDPs. We just woke up one day and found the IDPs settling in Kukareta, a village not far away from Damaturu here. Some of them move into Damaturu, some of them move around Damaturu, and a few others spread all over across the state. So the one in Kukareta, we found to be around 14,000 households. So it was a very serious situation. So when we were set up in 2015, December, we moved into Kukareta. We provided support to the IDPs. in form of shelter, temporary shelter, immediate food supplies, Medicare, water. In fact, we erected boreholes there. We provided latrines for them. The VIP, the ventilated improved pit latrines were provided there. So we were able to cater for them. And they were able to settle down in that village for some time. And that is one. The second aspect we have been dealing with was the camp that we had. We had about 2 camps prior to that problem of 2015. We had 2 camps. One is in Pompomari, housing over 3,000 IDPs. And there was another one at Bukar Ali Primary School, which has, it had about 1,000 IDPs there. But this one at Bukar Abba Primary School, Bukar Ali Primary School, was closed down eventually. The IDPs decided to go back to their villages with the newfound peace after 2015. So the state government organized a return package, a vehicle to transport them, and it was celebrated, and they were returned to their villages. So the ones in Pompomari Primary School, where we house more than 3,000, has now depleted to about a little above 1,000. They have also returned. And this is so because most of these villages after 2015, the military have pushed away the insurgents. Peace is able to be attained there. Now they are willingly returning to their villages in Gujuba local government. So this is what we have been doing. So when we were set up, the first thing we did was to divide ourselves into subcommittees. 3 subcommittees were formed, one for the immediate need of the IDPs. The second subcommittee is to determine how many IDPs we had. This is to get the baseline information, how many IDPs are you dealing with. It is only when you know the number of the IDPs you are dealing with that you will be able to cater for them. So we were able to determine the number, which was around over a little above 300,000 IDPs. Then the third subcommittee we set up was to do with the reconstruction. They have to move in, determine the level of destructions done on the villages and towns, and categorize them into sector, health, education, and various sectors, private infrastructure and government infrastructure. So we have done that, and all the documents are kept in the secretariat. This is so because the idea we had is anybody that is coming to help us assist in this area should have something to work on. So the documents are there, and anybody that comes, if he wants to go to assist in the health sector, he will be given the documents that dealt with the health sector. And that apply to other areas too.
All right, so let me ask you, some of these IDPs, we understand there are some of them that Yobe State has become a home for them, even though they came from states like Borno State to seek refuge in Yobe State. They don't want to go back. It's good that Yobe is safe. They have found Yobe safer than their states, but they want to be part of Yobe State. What's the plan to integrate them as part of Yobeans?
Yeah, you see, The governor, my boss, is taking this issue of IDPs so dear to him. He always talk about the IDPs. These people should be taken out of that situation. So that is the more reason why he asked me to head that committee, so that he will get a first-hand information, whether it is day or night, I should be able to reach him. And that is what is happening. So with that level of attention, you know how care will be given to the IDPs, which we have been doing. And anybody that is been taking care like that will not want to go back to anywhere he comes from.
Spoiling them with care.
So it is in Yobe that we have never, the governor discourages anybody to send away a non-indigent IDP. Anywhere you come from, he says it's a human being. It's an IDP. Let him come and stay. That culminated to recently him approving a plot of land to some of he approved a plot of land to some of the IDPs that stays in Kukareta. You know, Kukareta, the quantum has now depleted, you know, to very small figure. You know, I told you 14,000 households. They have all returned. We have very few. And those few ones that have not returned, most of them came from the neighboring states. Most of them, you know, we are having border with Borno. Some of them came from Damboa and environs. So he approved plot of land because they said they want to stay here. And he approved piece of land for them and some token of money with construction materials for them to build their houses. We recently had the ceremony and distributed the items and the money to them. So this is what we have been doing. And as it is now, most of the IDPs have returned. Like I told you, we are now having only one camp, which is Pompomari, which is managed by the state government through the State Emergency Management Agency. So, and some of them are gradually returning also. Last year and this year, they have cultivated their farms, and they are now gradually coming out of being IDPs. They have integrated and to the normal way of life, and we keep on encouraging them to stay there by taking the assistance to their doorsteps in wherever they are.
Okay, so looking at the passion Governor Gaidam and his team, of course, the government has shown towards caring for IDPs, I believe the government does not want people to remain in that situation, to remain in those temporary shelters. Is there a timeline for when everybody would have been maybe settled, resettled, and would have to leave the IDP camp, since peace has finally returned and everybody will have to leave the IDP camp, they'll be resettled, empowered to also be able to cater for themselves, not necessarily waiting for handouts from the state government?
Yes, this is a very good question. But as it is, internationally, it is not a best practice to ask IDP to return.
To force them.
Yeah, to ask them, or to, you cannot force them.
True.
Even to ask them to return.
Yeah.
Is by way telling them you are tired.
Of course. So
you just encourage them, you know, by providing the necessary infrastructures in their villages, by giving the information that their villages, their neighbors there have returned. So this kind of encouragement and which we have been doing. It is true so that most of them have returned. We have very few of them, but we are always collaborating with the military, because if the military is still having operation in those areas, you cannot return people there. So there are small areas where we have not gotten clearance to ask people to return. So I think these are the few remaining on the camp. So as soon as the military clear that area, they don't even the IDPs don't want to stay. So they will return willingly. So this is the.
How about the economic life of the people in the IDPs? Are they involved in some kind of trade to also support themselves with what government is providing?
Yes, yes. You see, let me tell you, when Boko Haram came to Yobe State, they attacked about 12 local governments. Some of them were seriously attacked with bombs, but they didn't stay there. The only local government they stayed were these two local governments, Gujuba and Gulani. They suffered the most devastation. They burned almost everywhere in Gujuba. The level of destruction in Gujuba is higher than in Gulani. So, in fact, they named Gujuba to be the Caliphate headquarters. So, they bombed the bridge, the only bridge that linked Gujuba local government to the other part of the state. So, for over 2 years, no one dared to go to Gujuba local government. Even if you wanted to go, there was no crossing bridge there. They have bombed the bridge. So the issue of IDP in Nigeria, in the Northeast, in my own view, the way people are moving to take care of the IDPs, that's where the problem is. Be it from the federal government, be it from the NGOs. There are so many players, so much talk. The actions are not commensurate to the way we talk about.
And this is a burden for the state government, because I was going to ask what level of interventions, especially from the federal government and of course these NGOs like you've mentioned, are they doing enough? How much more do you want them to do to step up?
Well, they are trying their best, but if the interventions are coordinated very well, we will have a wider coverage. But there are so many players, so many organizations taking care of this, that, but they waste time a lot in the bureaucracy and formulation of ideas while people are suffering. So our own approach, my governor's approach, is to go direct. This is the direct approach. He said it at the beginning. Let's come together. Let's assist these people. Let them build their own houses. Let the government take care of the public infrastructure. If you are able to set up the public infrastructure there, schools, markets that were burned, hospitals, then assist these people with some finances to reconstruct their own houses according to where they want to. Because the impact is so enormous on them. So alongside the government people doing the government infrastructure, the private people will be constructing their own houses. And the place will be so buoyant. People will move in without wastage of time. But as it is now, the government infrastructures, some of them are ongoing, not yet completed. The time is being wasted. If they have agreed on that suggestions by my governor at the beginning. That was beginning of 2016. We would have gone far by now. So here, what we are doing, we took over most of these things and put them in our budgeting system. And now we have moved in with the reconstruction as part of what our budget is supposed to do. Like in schools, we have gone far in renovating and reconstructing most of our schools through the Ministry of Education. The hospitals, as you have been seeing, Potiskum is a secondary level hospital. It's almost reconstructed, almost finished. We have finished Gaidam. Gashua is also finished. Then the tertiary level, we have the teaching hospital, which is a 200-bed state-of-the-art hospital, which is completed, awaiting commissioning. The medical college is almost 90–95% completed. So, and at the primary level, healthcare level, we have been renovating and reconstructing the health facilities across the state. So this is what we have been doing. And our doors have been open. Some people heed to the advice. They have been coming, and we have been collaborating and working with them. Like the Victim Support Fund, we are doing a lot in the Gujuba hospital, and the secretariat is almost completed now. We are working with them in other areas also. The other non-governmental organizations also have been assisting. But if everyone should come and sit down with the state government, I'm not talking only of Yobe, the various state government, to have a very good coordination, we will have a very wider coverage of all these activities.
Lastly, sir, as the helmsman of the committee in charge of resettlement and rehabilitation, you also have direct interaction with most of these IDPs. Tell us, from your interaction, what's your impression about them? I'm talking about personalities, and have you made friends with some of them?
Yeah, well, more or less, everyone in Yobe State is an IDP at one time or the other. Only the level differs. As I'm talking to you now, I have been made IDP in December 2014.
Wow. You have to leave your home.
I had to be evacuated by the military with gunshots flying all over my head. 2014, the military had to take me away, including my boss. He had been an IDP also. So the story is so, maybe we will live to give the story one day in a better platform. But seriously, you may, even in my house, I have one. So, and I believe most of us here, they have an IDP living with them or around their house. So it's not, it's a very common thing here. You don't have to go and look for IDP to be your friend. They are already our friends. They are part of our lives, you know. So this is how it is.
Thank you very much for your time on Impact Yobe, sir.
Welcome.
And we'll say you keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Well done, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, that's how it has been on the special report segment of Impact Yobe, our focus on the internally displaced persons. Thank you for watching.
A cikin IDP kan muke a Fomfomari, kasan gwamnati Yobe alhamdulillah ya karbe mu hannu biyu, tan zowa mu ba mu ga wani ohala ba, kamar dai mutum da ya bar gida ba gida ya bar shi, amma cewa za mu ce kamar ma muna gida mu, alhamdulillah. abinci ci yawa tambayar kamar yana da kyau daidai ne ci sha shayarwa alhamdulillah duk ana yi mana kuma na biyu ruwa duk zawa mu cikin nan waje muna da shekara 3 sauran kwana 40 ba abin da ya kasa mu kuma na ukun shi ko kashin mu da yaran mu da muka yi ma gwamnati shi yake kwashewa alhamdulillah mun gode a gwamnati jihar Yobe Allah ya taimaka Allah ya ja mana zamani duka
alhamdulillah gwamnatin jihar Yobe tana taimaka mana tana kawo mana abinci su ruwa su sabulu su sauransu da dai ba da tana taimaka mana gwamnatin jihar Yobe
mun sha ruwa mun samu abubuwa da yawa alhamdulillah mun gode gwamnatin jihar Yobe sun ba mu abu dan gwargwadon su alhamdulillah mun gode musu